here's the reason we move away from saying developing nations and go to the global south. It's because there's a reason these nations are still in development, and that's because of all the economic plunder that has taken place historically. These nations aren't underdeveloped because they are incapable of development. They're underdeveloped because we strategically have economically, first of all, we've just taken everything we possibly could. And now we're taking even more, all the rich ores and minerals that are used that we need for our technology here. We're right back at it. That's why China is there. That's why Russia is there. That's why America is there. There's just so many rich elements, ores that we can utilize for our technology in the United States and the West in general. And so there's clearly the economic plunder, right? But there's also, in order for them to carry out the economic plunder, they had to divide and conquer. And this is why you don't have strong governments. You have strong warlords. You have warring factions. And so long as this warlord is opposing that warlord inside the same territory, and there's no government strong enough to keep all of the warlords in check, well, then all the United States has to do, all of particular, not even just the United States in general, but all companies have to do is get in good with one particular warlord, and they never have to worry about any type of labor laws, because they don't even have a stable government. They don't have to worry about paying anything beyond what somebody needs to just survive, subsistence. I can't even talk tonight, right? We don't have to worry about any of that. We are able to plunder without any accountability to another government. And so they've done it strategically by making sure that, by sabotaging, by undermining, by instituting coups, making sure that we rip apart any stable government that could push back against the West. So it's very intentional. It's very intentional. That's why we say the global south, because it's not that these nations are third world just because they're third world for very specific reasons. And those reasons tie directly into the fact that it took us almost 24 to 48 hours to get information on all these people who were killed in Mogadishu over the weekend. And now that we even have this information, has an airy person put up a flag, a Somalian flag? Where are the fundraisers? Where are the broken hearts? Where are all of the monologues? Where are all the people doing video tributes? Where are all the, you know why? Because they don't see the humanity of them. That's why. And we see this time and time again, on repeat. It doesn't matter how many times, and it increases, right? We see the sympathy go up a little bit in Syria, but still, if we really had the sympathy that there are nations where we could get away with doing these things, and there are nations that we can't. And you will see a correlation. If somebody did a study, my hypothesis would be that there's a direct correlation between the nations that we have empathy for and the nations that we go to war in, or the nations that we have economic exploitation actively occurring in. There's going to be almost a damn near 1-to-1 correlation between how much the West cares and how much the West is destroying that place, that nation. I keep this is the one of the things that if I could just get, it's not ridiculous, it's not silly, but it is ridiculous and it is silly. It's about a comic book and it's about a movie. I'm not gonna say I get emotional when I see the preview of Black Panther, but it makes me think like I never thought before. Conceptually, Black Panther, Wakanda being the most advanced nation on the face of the planet in Africa, and the way they were able to pull it off was by being able to keep out colonialists, to keep out the British Empire, to keep out the French Empire, to keep out the United States, able to keep them out for generations, and because of the access of their resources, right? It's not just some feel good. No, it's like they had the money. They had the resources. They were able to control their resources, be able to control the people who had access to it, to sell it as they needed, to make technology changes. And I'm saying all that because it's like, the reason The reason the global South is the way that it is, it's because we made it that way. And the reason I think about that, the comic book, the movie coming out, Black Panther, is because when you think of the Congo, 7 trillion with a T, $7 trillion worth of rare ore and minerals underneath their ground still. And the war and the nation is torn apart, just like so many other global South nations. Torn apart. They cannot gain access to their own wealth because they're not civilized. No, bitch, because we went over there and we destroyed them. We destroyed their capacity. We divided them. We empowered. We armed warlords, and then we armed the other warlords, and then we put them against each other. And that wasn't enough. So we got a third warlord and a fourth one. And we divided the country so much so, and we gave so much firepower to the warring factions that it would be impossible for a government to come in, for a unified government to ever form, because they don't have the ability to be the only legitimate force of power in their region within their borders. And if by chance you get a nation who does have the ability to control their borders, to control their resources, well, then hell shit, the United States just declares war on them and we break them up all over again. So I think about that movie and I'm like, God damn it. Not that we were going to have, superheroes and all that kind of foolishness, but these nations are still developing in third world, as we call it, because of our actions there. And then I think about the Congo. Like, they still have, so there's still an amazing future that can be had, but not if the West continues to exploit it the way that we've exploited it all these years, all of these decades.